Yo, what's up everybody? My name is Magduit, and today we're going to be looking at ANINA again. But this time, I promised you guys we'd go into some sound design, we'd go into some spectral color-based sauce. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's jump right into this. Okay, so ANINA has a ton of different settings, but today we're going to be just focusing on two of the settings. The first one is the delta mode. That's going to be incredibly important for what we're going to be doing today. The delta mode over here, this little button, lets us listen to what ANINA is doing to the sound, but by leaving it on, it actually turns ANINA into this sort of spectral gating plugin. And we actually want that spectral timbre, that spectral sound, because that's how we're going to be making our color bases feel like color bases. But the other key component that we're going to be looking at as well is the ability to sidechain. And sidechaining into ANINA is incredibly fun. It lets you not only remove sounds, and unmask sounds from other sounds, but it also lets you create incredibly cool spectral color-based sound design with the delta enabled. So the big core concept behind what I am doing in this track or with this project is I'm taking two different samples. One of them is like a mud pie, or it can be anything really, but let's just take this sound for example. I have a mud pie here, and then I also have this little like wet vocoded synth thing that I made, and they're basically both in a similar key or the same key, and I'm essentially overlapping the sounds together by having the bottom kind of color base sidechain channel input or overlay the kind of bass mud pie channel. So I basically have, I've kind of maxed out the volumes here. I've set this to 1024. I've got the delta mode enabled. I've got the attack is at 0. The amount is pretty low. The release is, kind of medium here. And then inside the sidechain, of course, I have sidechain enabled. I'm doing a little bit of low cutting just to get rid of some of the muddiness of the sidechain sample or the ANINA output. And then I'm doing just a little bit of gating just because that adds to that spectral sauce that we know and love. But this is, you can get a lot. You can get a lot of really interesting sounds. And this is just let me just get you the original. This is kind of the original vocal sample, and then this is the original. Let me just group all of this real fast and just create a dry channel here so we can actually listen to what the original bass sounds like. So we kind of just have this like little wub bass, and then of course together you kind of are combining the two. It's almost like Synaptic Morph, if you guys are familiar with that, Synaptic Morph 3. But instead of having to spend, I can't remember how much money I spent on this. Too much money, like probably like $200 to $300, because that's pretty much the usual when it comes to Synaptic plugins. Instead of having to spend all of that money on this, you can just use ANINA for free. It's fantastic, and it's basically one of these things where you can morph anything together. So let's just do I'll do a little demonstration here, because I want to show you guys how easy this can be. I'm just going to actually go over here just a little bit down this direction here. And I'm just going to make sure that I have the delay and reverb off, just because I know I have a delay and reverb on here. I'm going to show you guys why here in a minute. But let me just quickly grab some samples. So let's just look for samples that are in the same key, just to kind of practice and try out this ideology of just using two samples and sort of morphing them together. And oh, here we go. Let's grab like a virtual riot. Oh yeah, perfect. We'll grab a virtual riot synth, and then maybe we'll look for something else. I kind of like this pad. Okay, so with this pad and this bass, what we can do is we can kind of like cut these and try to balance the volume. So the one thing that is important that I've noticed is if your main signal is too loud, you end up with this situation where it kind of just doesn't always work. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just invert them. You know, that also sometimes will work. Right? So like just basically mix around the samples until you can get them to work in the intended way. Always just be willing to like inverse the sound. Sometimes the bass will work better on the dry track. Sometimes it'll work better on the sidechain track. It's really kind of just an explorative journey when it comes to where the samples are going and why. And a lot of the times I'm literally just kind of going through and just dragging the audio around, just kind of sifting through. And it lets you just kind of explore and find these really interesting timbres. But I kind of like that one a lot. And of course you can like fade out of the audio to kind of create this like sort of fading effect. You know, kind of makes it shorter. But the idea here is, yeah, you can explore with a whole bunch of different samples. Let's just find another one here. Let's get the old respace, the old relic respace, maybe some oversampled melodic stuff. Now it's already kind of spectrally, but that's okay. We can make it even more spectrally. There's nothing wrong with that. Once again, may have to do a little bit of this. And you can see how the volume really does change the timbre of the sound. So, like, sometimes turning down the bass and turning up the melodic can work. Sometimes turning up turning down the melodic and turning up the bass can work. Let's try this instead, actually. And it's really interesting how you can basically just take like any two sounds, like even two bass sounds like this. Now I am doing a little bit of high passing, so let's actually just go and turn off. There's an EQ in here that's doing some high passing. Right, so I'm doing a little bit of high passing, and that's intentional because I have a dedicated sub in the track that I'm working on here. But the idea is I'm just taking these concepts, these melodic sounds, and mixing them with other melodic sounds, other bass sounds. In fact, let's try two melodic sounds real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, let's grab a loop and whoops, wrong track. And then yeah, some color-based sounds that I've made before with morph. Because why not? You can just always rinse. Once again, we can adjust the volume. And the volume really does matter a lot. Let me see if I can find one that's a little bit louder here. Let's also just try mixing these up, as in switching the positions. Right, so now we can, that sounds a little bit more interesting. So now we can use something like this. You know, we can go back to our track over here. I don't know why I went so far away. That's fine though. Right, so now you can like add these little variations maybe. Let's maybe just refine this part a little bit here. Make sure not to have the reverb and delays turning off here. Let's just fix that. But yeah, so the idea with the reverb and delay, let me just quickly talk about that for a second, is you can create these little moments that are very colorful, but with a little bit of delay and reverb, you can kind of like elongate them and make them feel more atmospheric. So that's why I'm using this. I'm just a stock delay, stock reverb with a little bit of swing on the delay. This is literally just the default hybrid reverb preset, by the way. I just turned down the dry wet a little bit, and maybe the send a little bit too. But it is literally just if you look up hybrid reverb, it's just the first one that pops up here at the top. But yeah, so what you're able to do with ANINA is create these really, really cool spectral textures, and you can make color base with this concept of essentially mixing these sounds together and creating these very spectral and dynamic sounds. Like, they're really dynamic and interesting. I love them. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Shout out again to Ewan Bristow for making such a wonderful plugin for us to play with. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. I should be making some more content here soon. I've just been on a bit of a music grind recently. Hopefully going to be releasing some soon, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, don't stop, all right? Ever. Keep making music, or else. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.